Hey Flosstubers, it's Katie the Stash Queen coming to you on this Sunday, November the 15th. Where has November gone? I'm not even thinking about how many days left or weekends left we have until Christmas. I'm trying just to get through November. It's going by way too fast. I hope everyone has had a good stitchy week. I had a great week this week. I did have one holdover because one day I just ran out of hours in the day, and that sometimes happens. But the highlight of my week by far was Wednesday, when Kate, the Queen of Starts, Garrett, aka Coffee Stitcher, and Brian, aka Brian C, Creative Brian, all got together at Stitch Niche in Arlington, and we had a ton of fun. Then we went out to lunch afterwards. The video before this one is the video that we did while we were at lunch, all being super goofy, showing off what we purchased while we were at Stitch Niche. I'm going to go ahead and show it again because when I get to Stash Acquisitions, just because it's to show it off a little bit more clearly. But it was a wonderful, wonderful time. I had an absolute blast. I was sad to have to leave to go and pick up my kids from school because they did have school on Veterans Day. But it was awesome. And I cannot wait to get together with my fellow Stitchers of the Apocalypse again. Other than that, it was a good stitchy week. Today is the day that I will be announcing my giveaway winners. I will be doing a separate video after this one for that. I need to go and make sure I have everyone's names down on my spreadsheet for who have entered. And then I'm going to do a separate video on the flip side so you guys can watch while I do the random number generator to pick out the winners. So that'll be after this one, later today for sure, but it'll be after this video. So I have a lot to talk about today. I've got some Q&A. I got a lot of Q&A this week. Stash Acquisitions, of course. Hello, Stash Queen. Got my week in review. I've got my updates for my sales. I've got whips for the week. I have got lots and lots of stuff to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. Start off with my Q&A. Again, as I say every week, I love answering everybody's questions. I just went down in my Creator Studio section in YouTube to go down and pick out the questions as I found them in the order that I found them. It means nothing about the order that they were actually asked. If I haven't answered your question and you asked one, just let me know and ask it again, and I'll try to get to it next week. So All M asked me, what am I going to be doing on New Year's Eve to mark the last day before I do all of my new starts? I don't know yet. Probably working on pieces to try to maybe get one or two more little finishes under my belt. We'll see. I don't know what plans we have yet for New Year's Eve. Last year, we went out with a bunch of friends of ours and did a murder mystery dinner, which was a lot of fun. But we haven't talked about New Year's Eve plans yet. We probably have to start doing that soon if we're going to go out and do anything. Otherwise, I may just stay at home and, drink some wine and watch the ball fall and stitch my little heart away before the new starts start on the first. Haven't decided yet. Cretia Crafts, do I use the cross stitch app to inventory my floss? No. I started to, and then it took way too long. I primarily use the cross stitch app for the journal feature. I love that feature. I think it's awesome. It is the best thing. And I had lots of people ask me this week, I'll skip down to that question, of how I keep track of all of my whips and my new starts and all that. The journal feature on the X Stitch app is phenomenal. That's what I use. It has it needs to be updated, and it probably won't be for a while, quite honestly, but I use the wish list in the journal app for all of the pieces or all of the patterns that I have that weren't in magazines. I used the kitted ones for all my kitted up projects, started, finished, clearly starts and finishes. I did use the fabric inventory app for a while. I've kind of depleted most of that and haven't updated it, so I haven't really used it. The floss one just took way too long, and I have too much floss. So the way I have my inventory set up now with my floss storage and all that, that works just fine for me. I know I have a complete set of DMC. I can come up here and very easily go through and figure out what else I need And that's just easier for me than going through that app and updating it. Because the problem is I would go and I would do something and then I would forget to update it and it would just get crazy out of control. But the journal app, the journal feature is really what I love because it puts all of your pieces in alphabetical order. And so that's, since I do my rotation, sorry, glare on the glasses today. Since I do my rotation in an ABC order, it's very easy to go through and say, okay, what was the last piece I worked on for this week? What's the next piece? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many days I need pieces for that week. And then just pull them out. It's really easy. Let's see here. TikTok was commenting how she doesn't like the way her stitches look when she's making an 1X with a variegated floss. So how do I do it? I make sure, and I don't have anything here to really show, but I make sure whenever I do the variegated floss stitches that I always start in the same hole with each stitch or with each X and end in the same. So I don't, like if I start on the top right and go down to the bottom left, I always start top right, bottom left, and then same way. And I also, if I need to, I'll railroad the stitches. And that seems to help them look fine and normal. It just takes some practice really to get it so that you're not piercing the stitches as you go through each cross and that sort of thing. So sorry, my skin's looking today. So I hope that helps. But railroad and make sure I always go in do the same holes each time, and just make sure when I'm putting the needle down that I'm not piercing the floss in the next hole over. Hope that helps a little. Leela Claiborne asked me several questions. How many needle minders do I have? I plead the fifth. Let me just say this. On all of my current whips that aren't on perforated paper, because perforated paper bends with the magnets, on all of my whips that are not perforated paper, I have a needle minder. And I have several needle minders on my wall and several needle minders coming. I like having a needle minder on every whip. So I'll just leave that to your imagination, knowing what plans I have for the next year. How do I get hoop marks and wrinkles out? I iron. Low setting, not with steam, especially when I'm doing the hand-dyed fabrics and flosses, but I iron upside down, usually with a thin towel over it, so it's not directly on the fabric, and that seems to work out fine for me. How do I wash? I don't wash the overwhelming majority of my projects because I do them on hand-dyed fabrics or I use hand-dyed flosses, and you're not recommended, because those aren't guaranteed color fast, it's not recommended to actually wash those. But Nay's Cross Stitch Needles has a wonderful video on how she washes her projects, and I'm using that video for the few projects that I actually do wash. So I will put a link to that below. I highly recommend you go and watch her video and take a look, and that should give you some good information in regards to washing the projects. And then she asked, why do I stitch small patterns in the middle of big fabric? I will admit that sometimes I could probably better measure out my fabric, and for some of the smaller projects that could fit, like 2 projects could fit on a fat quarter or something like that. The reason I don't is twofold. One, I have made mistakes in the past. No matter how many times I may measure 5 or 6 times and cut once, and ended up cutting my fabric short. And I figure pretty much I can, if I do it in the middle, I can cut after the fact and know that I have filled in the pattern and that sort of thing. The other thing is that I like making sure I have a little bit more on the sides. So if I'm going to be doing it if I'm going to frame it, or if I'm going to do it as a no-sew cube or whatever else I plan on doing with it, or even if I don't have plans yet on how I'm going to finish it, I like having the fabric so I can make sure I have enough to actually put the project together. I always figure, and I have a bag of scraps that I have cut before, after the pattern is done and after I'm putting it together where it needs to go, and I can use those and pull those for other smaller projects later on. It's a safety measure. I don't like cutting fabric, especially the hand-dyed ones, if I can avoid it. So that's why. Next question. Kathy Lake asked, how does someone join Stitch Mania? I'll put a link to the group below. It's a Facebook group. You just click on the link on Facebook, and when I get to it, or when Garrett gets to it, we will add new members into it. Now, as I've said this in previous videos before, but just as an FYI, I and Garrett both check the profiles of people who are joining. If you have nothing on your profile related to cross stitch at all, we are more likely to hesitate on having you join the group. If you don't have a picture of some sort, if you're not a member of any public groups, if you are, we've had people request to join that have no cover picture, no profile picture, no information, nothing related to cross stitch. I'm not going to say, yes, you can join our group unless you have contacted me and said, hey, this is who I am, so on and so forth, because there are so many spammers out there. And we have done a very good job of limiting the number of spammers who join our groups. So I don't want people to slip in. So if you want to join Mania, my recommendation is to at least have a little bit of a profile, meaning some sort of picture somewhere. And if you don't have stuff related to cross stitch either on your likes or in other public groups you're a member of, send me or Garrett a message and say, hey, I just sent a request to join Mania. This is who I am. So we know you're a real person. And then we'll get you I add people several times a day when I get to the computer. It's usually me doing the adding, but Garrett will do it sometimes when I can't get to it. So there's my recommendation for you there. And then, like I said, several people had asked, how do I track my rotation of my whips? Xstitch app, journal feature, under the started option. That's where I go. And it's really easy, because the cool thing, and I can't show you it because I record this on my phone and the app is on my phone, but it talks in there about, it has a place where you can put a picture of the piece. And I always do it. I put a picture of the model stitch on there. And then when I finish it, I'll replace that picture with my finished piece in the finished section, but I'll put a picture of the model stitch, the name of the piece, the designer of the piece, the status of it. So either kitted, started, finished, or wish list, but usually it's started if it's in the started list, the date that I started it. If it is not a kit, there's got a place for linen notes. So I'll put down what fabric I used. So that's how I'm able to tell you guys every week what fabric, what count, who'd made it, because I put it all in that app. And then there's also project notes. So like if I'm using flosses from that are not DMC and not what's called for in the chart, I will put that down there. If I make other revisions to the pattern, I'll put it down there in the project notes section so I can keep it. So that's the app. I highly recommend it. It's Carolyn Mazzio did a fantastic tutorial video on it. I will link her video and make a note of that to do that. I will link her video to the tutorial below so that other people can take a look. I believe they just released it on Android not too long ago. I use it on my iPhone. It's awesome. Get it. Crisscross Stitcher, in regards to the video that had the four of us with our get together, did we coordinate on purpose? Yes. Kate and I have met up several other times, and without planning it, have coordinated every other time that we have met up. Completely without planning, completely without talking about it. We just show up wearing the same colors and the same styles, and it's just kind of creepy. So we thought it would be funny if the four of us all coordinated. So yes, red and jeans were the attire for the day. Christine Lorino asked, on 40 count will I be going to over 2? That's the plan. Over 1, I think I'd go blind. And the piece that I'm going to be doing over 40 count, actually it calls for going over 2. So that's the plan. And then how am I going to contact giveaway winners? I'll say this also in the giveaway video, but I will announce who the winners are when I do the drawings. And whoever they are, if I know them, like if I either know them in Mania or if I'm friends with them on Facebook or something, I'll reach out and contact them to let them know. If I don't know them, or if I don't know you, if you're not in Stitch Mania, if you're not a friend of mine on Facebook, then it's going to be, I'll say who it is, but I'm going to need you guys to help reach out and contact me with the information so I can send the gifts or send the prizes. Beverly Evanger asked, do I use grime guards? No. because I use a hoop, and I know I know grime guards can fit on a hoop. I've seen that before, but because the hoop dimensions are different than the Q-snap dimensions, I hesitate on buying a Q-snap grime guard and it not fitting, and that's just a waste of money. So, and I have a sewing machine, but I've never actually used it. So I haven't made my own. So what I do to deal with the excess fabric is I kind of fold it over and however it works best. Sometimes I'll use the needle minders to actually hold the fabric in place when I fold it over. I just deal with it. Wendy Davis asked, do I use a floor stand, hoop, or Q-snaps? Hoop. I don't have a floor stand, and where I sit to do most of my stitching, it wouldn't be really conducive. I don't use Q-snaps. I have always used a hoop. And I have a 10-inch hoop that I use for everything, including my heids, including my big full coverage pieces. If it doesn't fit in my 10-inch hoop, I have a couple of smaller hoops that I use from some of my smaller pieces, or I'm not opposed to stitching in hand if I need to for some of the smaller pieces. But yeah, everything's done in a hoop. It's how it was taught. It's how I'm comfortable. I can get the hoop really, really tight. A lot of people talk about how they don't like the tension with hoops. Hoop I use is a plastic hoop. I forget the brand. I've had it for years now. I can get it really tight so I can bounce a quarter off of it. So I never have an issue with tension. So that's what works for me. So there you go. I think that's all the Q&As this week. Yep, that looks like it's it. If you asked a question and I haven't answered it, or if you have a question that you haven't asked before, feel free to leave a comment below and I'll be happy to try to get to them next week. Okay, Stashquisitions. Got a couple different categories of Stashquisitions this week. First off, I got my Just Cross Stitch magazine for December 2015. I'm sure everyone has gotten it by this point. I love this stocking from Ursula Michael. I think that is awesome. I'm not going to do a huge, I'm not going to do a page by page review in here. But I wanted to show off, and I'm sure a lot of people have seen it now. The Holly Jolly Santa Sampler from Frosted Pumpkin is in this issue. It's really adorable. I like this one a lot. I'm sure it will show up in rotation some point. It might even be done next year. Who knows? And then I also like these Christmas treasures from Liz Almond that were in there. The black work ornaments. I think those are beautiful. I really do love all of Liz's work. And she's so generous. I mean, considering her, Save the Stitches is free. Box of Delights is free. Pandora's Box is free. That's very, very generous. I think that's awesome. So, got that. Love my magazine. Then I had gifts this week. Flosstube and the stitching community are wonderful, generous, kind, caring, giving people. I have been blessed to get to meet some of them in person. I look forward to getting to meet others. I have made some wonderful friendships that I never would have made, and I never would have imagined at this point last year I would have made. I had some issues with some friendships earlier this year, at the very beginning of the year, before I ever found Stitch Mania, before I ever found Flosstube, before I ever became as active on Facebook as I've become. And it was really depressing, and it was really sad. And I was really, really down about it. But I found Stitch Mania, and I found all of you guys, and you all are so sweet and so wonderful. And I am blessed to know all of you, and everyone who comments on how much they enjoy my videos. It makes me feel so happy, because I like bringing fun and joy to other people's lives. And for all that everyone says I'm always so bright and peppy and enthusiastic, I'm not always that way. I have my down days. Absolutely. I'm just not usually videoing on those days. So this community has been wonderful. And I am so blessed to get to have all of you guys. So I have some gifts that were given to me, racks, gifts, whatever you want to call them. And I know that I apparently have something else coming. Hasn't made it this week, but I wanted to show it off because they are Stashquisitions, and it's an example of the generosity of the people in Flosstube. So first, Kate, the Queen of Starts, when we met up this week, gave me 2 new needle minders, one that she purchased and one that she made. The King Arthur one that she made, and then the one that she purchased is There's No Such Thing as Too Much Stash. So very appropriate. And King Arthur, I love Arthurian legend. I think it is awesome. The No Such Thing as Too Much Stash came from Stitchy Time Creations, which I've never purchased from before, but the minder is very, very cute. And I fully plan on using it. And then Kate also gave me as a Christmas gift, since we're not sure if we're going to be able to, just with the holidays and things coming up, we're not sure what our schedules are going to be like to see each other before Christmas. I commented how I really, really wanted this pattern and I hadn't purchased it yet. So she's awesome. It's Lizzie Kate's How to Be a Mean Mother. I love this pattern. I think it is awesome. I plan on doing it next year. So it was so sweet of her to give me these gifts. Thank you, Kate, for those. I love them. They're awesome. Then Garrett, when we met up, knows how much I love Mo's Sale. And Garrett doesn't use as much of the highly variegated different color flosses as I do. He knows I like them. So he went through his stash and he gave me his Mo's Sale cottons and silks that he didn't anticipate using. I'm not going to go through all of them, but yay. So I can add more to that. Plus he gave me all sorts of bits of like smaller cuts of fabric that he didn't have any pieces or plans or uses for. So I'm just leaving them in here. But there are all sorts of different cuts that he went ahead and gave to me to do. To use for my patterns, which I thought was absolutely sweet and wonderful. So thank you, Garrett. You rock. I love ya. Mwah. And then I got something in the mail this week from Christine Hennessy, who is another one of our Year of Starts crazy people. And she contacted me on Facebook and said that she wanted to send me some things for being awesome and doing the Year of Starts and all that. And I thought that was really, really sweet of her. And that came this week. And she sent me these awesome patterns. This one is Home Tweet Home. The fairies in the birdhouses. I think that's so sweet. I love it. They're so cute. And then she also sent me the Cross Stitch Crazy pamphlet from Jeremiah Junction, which is awesome. It's Cross Stitch Forever, housework whenever. Cross Stitch Crazy certified. All incredibly appropriate for me. And then she also sent this one pattern. Let me take it out so there's no glare. This pattern from Waxing Moon Designs. She who dies with the most patterns is not stitching fast enough. So incredibly appropriate. I love all of these. I have already fit them into my rotation for next year. And she also included this really sweet journal. It's beautiful. It's Love God and Live with Joy, and it's got wonderful like Psalms and Proverbs on the corners of each page to kind of light your day. I fully plan on using this as my journal for prepping for each week and things that I'm going through for next year with all my stitchy stuff. So Christine, thank you. That was so, so sweet of you. I was so touched that you wanted to send me something and that you sent such wonderful things that are so appropriate for me. I just, thank you. And Garrett, thank you. And Kate, thank you. And you guys are just awesome. That's not all the Stashquisitions though, because I did buy stuff. Are we shocked? First, I got I have a couple of orders still outstanding with Stitching Bits and Bobs, and I forgot I had this order outstanding. I got the last bits of the flosses that I needed to finish out my chatelaines for next year from Stitching Bits and Bobs. So I was going to show all of those off. Let's see, what do we got here? I'm going through things. Okay. I got Petite Treasure Braid in PH01. And then this is PB37. This one is PB50, which is like a coppery pink one. And then PB40, another gold. All sorts of different versions of gold. And then I got, let's see here, this is 1, I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, I should have been better prepared for this, but I wasn't. Oh well. 6. 6 of the Needlepoint Ink Silks in 993, which is their black. And then there are, let's see here, these 2 are 749, which is a dark blue from Needlepoint Ink Silks. Let's get the rest of the Needlepoint Ink Silks up here. We have, this one is 342. And another 342. And this one is 159. It's a dark green. And then a 313, yellow green. This one is 821. It's showing up a lot brighter than it is, but oh well. 749 again, another dark blue. And 821. And then I had Thread Gatherer Silken Colors. Several of those. We have Pond Scum. Very appropriate color name. This one is Camouflage. This is Coastal Seaweed. This one is Dark Forest. Another Dark Forest, 2 more Dark Forests. This one is Frosted Violet, like a purple gray. Another Coastal Seaweed. This is Grapefruit Kisses. I think these are both Grapefruit Kisses. Yeah, 2 Grapefruit Kisses. I like that one a lot. That's really cool. And then 1 Gloriana, which was Deep Blue Sea, which is a green blue. It's really pretty. So that should finish up all of my chatelaines for next year. Yay! Like I said, I still have a couple more orders out from Stitching Bits and Bobs. That should be coming in soon. Then from Stony Creek, I got the November free Ho 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 Snowman face. And then to justify the shipping, I also purchased, because they had it on clearance, the Bent Tree, the Tree of Me, which is really cool because it's got, it has the pattern and the places for all these little icons, and it gives you lots of different icon options to fill it in to make it a very appropriate tree for you. And dogs and cats. So I thought that was cute. And then the rest of this, feel free to fast forward if you don't want to see it again. This is what I got at Stitch Niche with the group this week, but I wanted to show it off a little bit more clearly and closer to the screen and all that. And crinkle, crinkle, because I didn't pull it out. Sorry. Okay, here is Crown by Alessandra Adelaide. I am actually contemplating doing this all in beads. I think that would be awesome. Haven't decided yet, but I'm contemplating it. Then this is the one from Silver Creek Samplers, which is Stitching Feeds My Heart. With silver needle and golden thread, I'll stitch until my heart is fed. I like that. That's really sweet. And then Little House Needleworks, we are Diane Williams. Home of the Needleworker. We are going to all start this. I think we decided February 1st. I think is when we're all going. When me and Brian and Kate and Garrett are all going to start this piece. I anticipate not putting in Diane Williams. Sorry, guys. I think I'm going to put in Stash Queen, the Stash Queen here instead of my name. And then from Prairie Schooler, we had the bunnies that Garrett enabled me to get because look, they're so cute. I love the bunnies, and I needed some more Easter patterns because I don't really have a lot of Eastery patterns. Then this is the Old World Santas 2. Sorry. I've never seen Old World Santas 1. I'm curious what Old World Santas 1 looks like, but I really love these guys. They're awesome. And then the Santa's 12 Days of Christmas. Put them in the right order. Might help. Here's 1 through 4. Here is 5 through 8. And then here is 9 through 12. I don't know. I don't plan on starting these soon. These will probably actually wait for a while. And I don't know if I would do them all as one piece or if I'm going to do them as 12 separate ornaments. No idea yet. I want, because he says, uh-oh. Little Red Riding Hood says, uh-oh. I have to get uh-oh. We'll see. It was just, I've watched, I will admit it. I was there and I've watched that video of ours a couple of times. Sorry, I had something behind me. And it cracks me up every time Brian's like, I got this pattern because Little Red Riding Hood says, uh-oh. The best reason to get a pattern ever. Alrighty. So, week in review. We're going to start off with something exciting that doesn't actually happen here very often. I haven't finished. I finished Screw Calm and Go Running for my husband for Christmas. And it's a silver Krennic for the top and then just black for the text. I did use my new Even Weave signature for the first time. And it's a KTA all put together and then 15 for 2015. KTA are my initials. So this is on a 28 Joblin grab bag piece from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I'm anticipating framing this. And it's going to be a Christmas gift for my husband. So when I have it all FFO'd, I will show it off again. But yay, I have it finished. I'm excited. Take off this needle minder so it can go on the board. Okay. So I did have one holdover this week, and that is because on Wednesday when I met up with everyone, we didn't get any stitching done while we were together. And by the time I got home and got the kids, and I was exhausted. It's a long drive from my house to Stitch Niche. Not a hard drive, but a long drive. I was exhausted. So I did my stitch along pieces for the day, and then I didn't actually get to my daily rotation piece. So I do have one holdover this week, but that's okay. So here are my pieces for this week. First, this is the biggest stash from Cross Point Designs. Move that out of the way. It is on 32 Joblin and April Showers from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. I got that little blanket that's over the back of the chair done. That was about it that I could do that day. But hey, every stitch is progress. And then the next piece I worked on was the bookshelf from Little House Needleworks, which is on 32 Lugana in doubloon from Picture This Plus. And here is where I got to at this point. I finished the books on either side. I got the spine, some of them, it's gold Krennic for the rest of the spine. So I got those books done so I can start in the between the books, I think is where I'm going to start next, which is all the author names, I believe, when I work on this piece next. And these pieces all started with the in my app. So they were all down in the T's, but proper, I guess, alphabetical ordering of things, you're not supposed to include the. So I took the out of my app. So now that's just listed like as bookshelf in my app. So it's up in the B, so it'll come up again soon. Then I worked on The Little Mermaid from Disney Dreams collection. Here's where we are now. Added some more piece here and some more of the water. And someone commented, I think it was Blimey Cat Stitches on Facebook, that the colors of the water must drive, because look at how many colors are in that water. It must be a little bit maddening. And what I do is I pick a color and then I just use that floss all the way through as far as I can. And so it doesn't seem as bad, but I love the effect of it. It's really cool. Sorry, I'm hearing something outside my house. It sounds weird. Okay, then the next piece I worked on was my Medieval Town Mandala from Chatelaine. And this is on 32 Lugana in Truffle from Picture This Plus. And I worked more on I got this color green. It's Monet's Garden Green, I think is what it's called. So I got that around that piece, worked in the squares where it was going around here, more in those squares, and then stopped there when I stopped for the night. So some progress. This will be fitting into my Chatelaine rotation for next year for Chatelaine Shenanigans. Even though I have already started it, I'm going to be rotating between this and the other two Chatelaines that I'm doing for that stitch along. So it's definitely going to get more love in 2016. And then yesterday, even though I didn't watch the Doctor Who episode yesterday, yet I'm watching it today. For several reasons, one being that, I read several reviews that it's supposed to be kind of a scary one, and my kids watch it with me, and it was right before their bedtime, and I didn't want them to watch something really scary, potentially with Doctor Who right before bedtime, so we're going to watch it today when they're not going to bed, as soon as the credits are rolling. Plus, I was watching the debate, because the state of the world these days, no matter, I'm not going to say who I'm supporting, I consider myself independent, but there's only one person who has ever guaranteed my vote, and that's my father. And it's important, in light of things that are happening in our world, to know what the people who want to run our country, what their plans are. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, I am of the belief that you should be watching both sides of, whichever one you are, still watch the other side's debates. Because it's important to know what the people who are wanting to run our country are saying and they're thinking and are doing to be an informed voter. And that's done with my PSA for now. But Exploding TARDIS. I worked on this yesterday from Sprite Stitch. It's on the 18 count Ada 2/1. Got 4 more colors done yesterday. Yellow's starting to show up. Yay! I love this piece. This is a fun piece. And it's going really well for my... it's a full coverage piece. It's smaller than your typical Haid, but it's a full coverage piece, and I'm doing it electronically, and it's working pretty well, but I think it's because it's a color pattern, so I'm able to follow it pretty well, and with the way the pattern is designed with like the swirls and stuff, I can kind of follow it easily. So that was my week in review, except for one more piece, which was Garrett's piece, which is going to be my focus piece for today, because it's Sunday. And I was focusing on the 3rd block this week, and if you can't figure out what the pattern is by now, I can't help you. Because look, I was working on the 7 dwarves. So all of their vests, shirts, and hats are flosses from Dragonfly Lotus. And this one, the green in this one, and this red all came from the same skein. That's Fruit Punch. I think that's awesome. So I would like to finish this frame today. We'll see if that happens. I'd like to, but we'll see if it happens. And then here is the full piece so far. This is being done on 32 Lugana in sand by Picture This Plus using lots of Dragonfly Lotus. And then there's my Snow White needle minder from Gina's Unique Needle Minders. I think it's kind of obvious what the theme is now, but I still call it Garrett's Piece, and I will call it Garrett's Piece until it's finished. So yeah, that's going to be my focus piece for today. I'd love to get it done. I've got to do some, our dishwasher's broken. They're coming out tomorrow to fix it, but it's a pain in the rear. So I have some dishes from last night that I still need to do because I was too lazy to do them last night. And I'm going over to my parents for dinner. And so hopefully I'll get this done today, but we'll see. So next we are moving on to stitch along pieces. I've mentioned before, I am doing the Magical Creatures stitch along next year, which more people are joining, and it's going to be lots of fun. I'm working on the border to make sure that I have the border done before January. And I'm doing 15 minutes a day on the border. And this is a Magical Creatures calendar by Clouds Factory on 32 Opal Belfast in Diva from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And here's where I am at this point. I worked primarily, I got the corner done, and that's all the January block. So I'm moving over now. So here's the full, and look how the color's changing on this, but it's a purple, blue, and pink and sparkly. But it's 15 minutes a day is adding up. So there will be no problem for me to have this border done before January 1. And once the border's done, I'll put it away until the official stitch along starts. And this is my Blingy Pegasus needle minder from Gina's Unique Needle Minders. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. And I highly recommend anyone who is going to be joining us in the stitch along next year, do the border. It's a little bit complicated. A lot of people have been struggling with certain parts, but do the border because it will save you a lot of headaches when we get to the months next year. Just my opinion. Then in Stitch Mania, for the 5 Fs is what I'm calling it. I named it. So now I'm calling it the 5 Fs. The Fall Friends Family Food and Fun Stitch Along for Stitch Mania. This past week I worked on my Fall Fairy from Dimensions Gold Collection, and here's where she is now. I got a lot of progress on her. She has a face, she has hair, there's background. Clearly this is where the page ends. But the reason why I think I got so much progress this week is if you look closely, these are all half stitches. So those went really, really fast because they're just the half stitches. But I'm really pleased with the progress. I had a lot of fun working on her. So fall and fun, check. Fun is getting 4 checks. Because last week was family and fun, and this is fall and fun. So that's going to go now. She's just so pretty. I'm waiting on doing the back stitching. I would probably regret that when I get to the back stitching, but I'm waiting for now. I may change my mind when I work on her again, but I wanted to get more progress on actual piece and background before I was doing the back stitching. So this week, starting today, I'm working on the Friends and fun, because again, all of this is fun. And so for Friends, I am doing the Frosted Pumpkin Stitcheries Fibery Friends Sampler. How appropriate is that? Friends is in the title. And I am doing this on 28 Jobelin and Tempest from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie. And here's where I'm starting from at this point. I've got a little coffee needle minder from Minding My Minders. So 7 hours. Wonder how far I'll get. Because I've already got a good, decent start on this. We will see. I'm excited. And yes, this is another example of me starting in the middle of a big piece of fabric, but this is going to be round, and that'll give me some excess, and I'll have probably some leftover pieces later on. Again, it's more of a fear of cutting the fabric too short than anything else. It's easier to measure and cut once the piece is done. So that is going to be my stitch along for Stitch Mania for this week. And I'll post it like I do every day. So WIPs for the week. I decided I put it on hold because I was doing Garrett's piece, but then I got Screw Calm and I worked on that 30 minutes a day. And yes, it was a pretty basic pattern. There's not a whole lot of complexity to it. But it was really nice to get it finished. And as much as I love all of my starts, I do love having finishes too. You got to start a project before you can finish it. But, you know, I like getting the finishes as well. So I decided that I'm going to go back to doing what I started doing, which was the focus for a finish, which is one piece that I'm going to pick up and I'm just going to work on it 30 minutes a day until it's done. I had said before that I would do it 30 minutes a day a month and then put it away for the month, or 15 minutes or however long I was doing it. And I got the Letters from Laura letter T done, which I need to go get framed. I need to do that. These framing jobs soon. Which I was doing, I got that one done. And then Screw Calm got done. I'm going to have 366 starts next year. If I can get a few more patterns out of the way, or a few more of my WIPs done and out of the way, that'd be great. So I picked up and I decided, since I did a piece for my daughter and I did a piece for my husband, I am now going to work on the piece for my son, which is, and sorry, my notes are over here. That's why I keep looking away. This is going to be the Doctor Who clock from Cloud's Factory that I can't show you because it's on, it's an electronic pattern. So you can go back to my electronic pattern video if you want to see it. But here is my Doctor Who clock for my son. We've got the middle part all finished. We've got Doctors 1 and 2 done, and I'm working on 3. So this is where I'm starting on this. This is a 32 Opal Lugana Jewel from Under the Sea Fabrics, and I'm using flosses and silks from Mo's Sale. I think it's almost all silks, actually. Yeah, pretty much all silks. And then I got this TARDIS needle minder. There's several different places out there, but I got mine from Minding My Minders. It's awesome. So I'm going to work on this for 30 minutes a day until it's done. And yes, another big piece of fabric. But again, I'm going to make this into a clock, so I think I need the excess fabric's a good thing to have for now. And that's the other thing. The other reason why I sometimes start in the middle of the big pieces of fabric, the bigger pieces of fabric. I mean, this is only a fat quarter, which is what most of my fabric size is. The modeling. I like the modeling in this starting in the middle better than on either side. And I wanted to capture that. So yes, I will work on this half an hour a day until it's done. May not be for Christmas, but it'll get done. And I'll show you guys where I got to that next week. So my one holdover this week is World's Postage Stamp by Sew to Stitch. I kind of want to do this one just in light of things, but here is where I am at this point. This is on 32 Jobelin in Meadow from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, who is having a sale that ends today. Go to her website, stephsfabbies.com, I believe it is. The code's on the website. Here's where I am at this point. I may actually jump up and work on Paris today or tomorrow. I don't know yet. We'll see. And this is one of my TARDIS needle minders from Minding My Minders. So we'll see what calls to me tomorrow. Then the next one that I have is Tuscan Greeting from Dimensions. It's a little one, but it frustrates me because there's a lot of errors in it. Here is where I am starting from at this point. Yeah, there's lots of errors. You can't really tell unless you know, but they're there and I know where they are. So we'll see. And I've got my little blingy drink minder from Gina. So we'll see. This might be another one later on that I might use as a focus for a finish to get it done. We will see. I want to do the Doctor Who clock first. And then the next piece I've got is my Twisted Rainbow sampler from Northern Expressions Needleworks. And this is the specialty stitch version. I am doing this one on 32 Lugana in Ariel from Picture This Plus using silks from Jottery. And this one I'm doing on a huge piece of fabric because I want to do its mate, the twisted band sampler, also on this fabric on the other side. But here's where I am at this point. So I'm working on this band here for now. Probably won't get to specialty stitches this time, but we'll see. I'm doing this 1/2, and I love the way it's looking so far with the Jottery. And then my minder is, I have flying monkeys, don't make me use them, from Gina. So yeah, I love how that looks so far. I'm excited to get back to this piece. And here's my bag of Jottery. Then the next piece that I have is my Victorian Lady from Joan Elliott. Feels like I haven't worked on Joan Elliott's in a while. I've got a lot of Joan Elliott's in my rotation next year. Never fear. But here's the Victorian Lady from Joan Elliott. She's so pretty. And I am doing this one on 28 Jaslyn in Strawberry Swirls from Under the Sea Fabrics. Let's see, where are we starting this here? Which way does this go? Ah. I believe it goes this way. Wait, maybe not. Maybe it goes this way. Yeah, it goes this way. That's the back. Oops. So here's where I am on her at this point. Maybe it's not the way it goes. I can't figure it out. And then here's my blingy peacock needle minder from Gina. I'll have a better idea of which way it goes when I show it to you guys when it's done. And the last piece that I have for this week is actually the last piece in my rotation before we go back up to the A's. And it is my wedding sampler that was designed for me by Carolyn Manning. My pretty wedding sampler. And I am doing this on a 14 count Crystal Fresco Ada from Picture This Plus. And I was working on backstitching last time, and I think I'm going to continue working on backstitching this time. But here's where it is at this point. I really like this piece. And then I've got a blingy crown from Gina. So, but here I was working on backstitching up here last time, so I think I'll continue the backstitching. Because this is 2 full pages of the border done. And then there's 2 more pages of border and the stuff in the middle. So, yep. So, and then of course on Saturday will again be my exploding TARDIS. So that's this week. My plans for the week this week. It's going to start getting kind of crazy. Let's be honest here. And not just because I'm planning 366 stars. This is I believe, yeah. This is the last week of school. Oh, needle, great. Before Thanksgiving break for the kids. They will be on break the entire Thanksgiving week. Thanksgiving Day, I will be at, for the first time in many years, I'll be celebrating Thanksgiving Day with my family where we live up here. And then we will be driving late Thanksgiving Day down to Houston to celebrate Thanksgiving with my husband's side of the family who has relatives coming in. We're doing Thanksgiving on Friday for that side of the family. And then we probably won't be coming back until that Sunday. And then you've got Christmas decorating, which I'll get to show you my Christmas finishes that are all packed away. Yay! And, you know, Christmas stuff and holiday stuff. And life's just going to kind of get busy here in the next few weeks until the end of the year. My intention is to keep doing Sunday videos as I can. I think the only Sunday that may be questionable will be the Sunday after Thanksgiving, which I'll give you guys a heads up in advance about that. Probably next week and give you an idea. But, you know, we'll get it taken care of. It'll be okay. I'm going to, I think that's about it that I've got today. I'm still catching up on Flosstube videos. And the thing is, I now have a 5 in the front of the 3-digit number of videos I need to watch. I'm in September still of videos, but I'm slowly catching up. I watch a few a day. I don't always comment, but I am watching. I'm working on it. I'll get there eventually. And I was going to go somewhere with that, but I really don't remember where I was going to go. Oh, I will, as I start uploading this video, I'm going to go ahead and put away my stuff, and then I will finalize everything while this video is uploading to be ready to do the next video of the giveaway. So good luck to everyone who has entered. And I think that's about it that I've got. Yeah, I think that's it. I will see you guys next time. Bye!